The American workforce looks much different than it did 10 or even 5 years ago, let alone 100 years ago when some of our labor and employment laws were first enacted. There are now more than 27 million Americans working as independent contractors, having the flexibility to make their own schedule to decide when, where, and how they want to work. More and more I'm hearing from people back home, and they want jobs that offer this type of freedom. Just one example I love to share. I got picked up by Uber or Lyft at the New Orleans airport, and the guy had just moved from San Francisco to New Orleans. Two great cities, but obviously he chose the best of the two, and he just wanted to do it. And so he calls up Lyft and says, I'm moving to New Orleans. He shows up and then goes immediately to work. Because he worked independently, he had that freedom to move place to place without losing a source of income. And then another guy, he's a dadgum chemical engineer, and he says he'd rather be a Lyft driver. And he goes, I'm tired of the cubicle. He goes, I got this car. I take the car fishing on the day off. I can take my day off anytime I want to take a day off. But he stays with his chemical engineering job because he wants the benefits. But he'd rather have the freedom and the benefits. Now, I get that. People need a 401k, they need health insurance. So whether it's a hairstylist, musician, artist, in my state, a swamp tour guide, a rideshare driver, software designer, independent truck driver, none of them should have to choose between a flexible work schedule and having a 401k or health coverage. So Congress, we, should modernize labor laws to catch up on the 21st century and meet the needs of today's workers. Now, our labor laws are about 100 years old, and that prevents the independent worker from receiving the benefits that they would have if they choose to be a flexible independent worker. Now, we've heard from companies that want to give benefits to contractors, but they don't because of fear of misclassification lawsuits. So last week I joined Republican colleagues, Senators Paul and Scott, in releasing a legislative package modernizing federal law, giving power back to the workers. This pro-worker package establishes a safe harbor so that a worker can keep his or her independent status while unlocking benefits for themselves and their families. It strengthens workers' flexibility. It makes it clear what legally constitutes an independent contractor. The package also increases workers' access to health care and retirement accounts like solo 401ks that are already available under federal law. I appreciate Senator Paul and Tim Scott for their leadership. And by the way, this is not partisan. States with Democratic governors like Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Wisconsin, red states like Georgia, Utah, and Tennessee, all working on pilot programs or legislation supporting portable benefits. And while these concepts are being vetted in laboratories of democracies, outdated federal law still brings the threat of lawsuits preventing workers nationwide from accessing benefits. It's time we establish consistency and clarity for every worker so that those who wish to be independent contractors can not only have the flexibility and independence, but also the financial security. So I urge all of us, Democrat, Republican, to work together to achieve this goal, just as Democrats and Republicans on the state level are doing the same thing. I thank the witnesses for being here. Thank you all for representing your position. And I look forward to our discussion how we can empower workers to succeed.